Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink! Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we will talk about bourbon inside info and if anything will change after the Virginia ABC store arrest of 2 individuals accused of sharing insider information about bourbon releases. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Katie Joyce, Danny Kennard, and Tim Swyat.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Hey, guys.
Oh, hello.
Hey, so we're going to have a fun show today. We got Katie here. Of course, she is a lawyer. So she's already been having fun and researching this and all that. And I think it's going to give a unique perspective to this because I want to see, I mean, this case itself is interesting, but I also want to see what could this mean. So we'll expand on what I'm thinking. And maybe Katie's already thought of all that. And we'll talk about that, though, after the break. For right now, I had the greatest small talk in the world, but I lost it. I forgot it. That happens. I don't write things down. So we have to go with what McNew's is. Maybe not as good, but we don't know. We'll see. McNew, what do you got for us?
You know, I'm sure it is not as great, but I need to talk to you guys about naps. So I feel like they're either very good and refreshing, or you fuck yourself over for the day and you're more tired. So took one today, took one, I don't know, sometime during the week. Really have been fucking myself over lately and just they're not what I want them to be. So how do you guys feel about naps?
Oh, I can do this one for sure.
Okay, Danny's got this. All right, Danny, what do you got?
All right. I work out in the heat all day.
Okay.
I come home, I'm tired, I want to go to sleep.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
your body's saying go to sleep, Danny, but
yes. Okay. Well, if I don't go to sleep, I screw myself because by the time I get dinner done, I get halfway through.
Yeah.
As I get halfway through my plate, and Misty's already pissed off at me because I'm done. I fell asleep early. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, number 2. Situation happens. I come home. I actually take the nap in my chair. 2 hours later, dinner's a little bit later now.
Okay. I think I can help with this. The key to a nap is to remember it's a nap. It's not a secondary sleep. So if you're 2 hours, it's too much, and that's what's going to mess you up. 2 things can happen. You're just you don't wake up refreshed. You're more tired than to begin with, or when you get too much sleep, then you can't fall asleep at night. You're like, I'm okay now. And then you try to go to bed, and you can't fall asleep. So a nap should be 20 minutes to an hour. I think, and if you can't wake up in that naturally, you should set an alarm. That's what I think when it comes to naps.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'll try that.
Okay.
Danny, I do have a question for you. Isn't there a third avenue for you? You work all day, you come sit in a chair, you get on an ABV network event, and then about halfway through, you start falling asleep and take a nap?
Yes, that is the third unfortunate thing that does happen.
We like it when that happens.
And then, especially tonight, that may happen.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he gets McNew's yawning. So yeah.
I just spoke up like 30
She got herself going with her own topic.
Myself today. Like this, I should not have taken a nap.
Tim, where do you fall on naps?
I can't do them during the day. Naps during the day, it just doesn't happen for me. Especially, well, I will say there are these rare occurrences where, well, I turn into a pumpkin after 8 o'clock, to be honest with you. So after 8 o'clock, don't talk to me. You want anything, it's going to be yes, get away from me, whatever you want. So there's your secret sauce. But there was this past weekend, we were sitting on the patio outside, had the fan going to keep the bugs away. And we had this little patio furniture that I could actually lay down on. I think I fell asleep for 2.5 hours and woke up and forgot where I was at. And this was sober. This was sober on a Saturday. So I'm just trying to figure out what the hell just happened. I woke up so refreshed.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, wow, this is great. This is how the other people live. This is awesome. Maybe naps I can do.
Yeah.
But I had no stress for the day. I had nowhere to be. And I don't think anybody was home. So that was even scarier. But yeah.
Tim, did you start drinking afterwards? That's the other problem.
Yes, I did. Listen, I got some catch up to do.
Katie, how about you? What are you doing?
I am not at all a nap person. Normally, if I try to nap, I wake up dead to the world. You do not want to deal with me. And so like this evening after work, I was quite exhausted. And it was probably 6:30 or so. And my boyfriend had suggested that I take a nap. And I was like, I don't think they want me podcasting after I try a nap. But the one I can do if I plan it just right is a caffeine nap. So if I consume some caffeine and set the alarm for 20 minutes, and so like I'll drink a Monster or sorry, my cat is biting me. So if I like drink an energy drink or like a full soda, or like a full coffee, and then it can immediately fall asleep for the nap, set the alarm for 20 minutes, and then the caffeine is waking you up at the end of the 20 minutes.
That's a schedule. That will work. Good.
And I can do that.
You can do that.
It's premeditated.
All right.
Yeah. So take some planning.
McNew, how about you? What do you do now?
So I used to love a nap, but now they are just not working for me anymore. Really? Like I'm so tired right now because I hung out in the sun all day today. I'm a little sunburnt. And like, when you're in the sun, you get tired. I was like, I want to take a nap before we record. And I am so tired right now. Like, I really just did not do myself any favors.
What? All right. Let's have one last, what's the ideal nap scenario for where you can't even stop yourself? Like for me, it's on a warm beach. Laying down, the sound of the ocean, even the people talking, because it kind of becomes this muffled noise after a while. It kind of all, and then the cool ocean breeze, that warm sun, the noise of the waves, and then that cool breeze. Man, I couldn't stay awake, laying down on the beach if I wanted to. I'm out.
As long as I'm in the shade in that situation, if I'm in the sun, the alarms are going off in my head of like, you're going to get burned. You have to get in shade. So as long as I'm under an umbrella in the shade and have sunscreen on, then I can relax. Okay. And that's
I agree.
Wow. Yep. Wow, that's a good one.
Steve, I'm with you. You get the breeze right. You get the right angle of the recliner or chair you're in. If you get the right angle, it's lights out.
Lights out.
And I'm with you.
Yep.
I leave my zero gravity chairs. I do not take them to a beach at all because they're like my recliner. I'll lay back, I'll relax, and I'm out.
That's it. You're out. Yeah. All right, gang. Well, guess what? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with McNew, our leader. McNew.
I have some Sweetens Cove Tennessee whiskey.
Wow. Tennessee. All right. Decent. All right. How about you, Katie?
I am having some Planters Whiskey Ozark Highlands.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Okay. I think McNew's got the lead. A little slosh there too, so that didn't help the situation. So I'll go next. I'm not anticipating much here. McNew's got the lead. I got the Old Pepper Distillery, some rye from Old Pepper, but this one is more than halfway gone. So let's see what we got here. Boom. No, McNew's got the lead. All right. How about you, Mr. Swyatt?
In celebration of Buzzard's Roost 3-year anniversary, I'm going to imbibe in my peated barrel straight rye whiskey. There's not much here. Nothing.
No, nothing there, in fact. All right, Danny, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to actually finish off my bottle of Pop Kessies moonshine.
Nice.
Courtesy of the ABV.
Oh, good. You have to get a you'll have to get a refill this weekend.
Yes.
It's a bottle kill. We need to sell another one. Okay.
Squeak.
More squeak than anything there. So no, McNew wins that. So how about that? McNew starts out with a win.
Nice. So, cheers, guys.
Cheers, gang.
Hello.
All right. We'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about insider bourbon information, what led to some arrests in Virginia. We'll talk about the things that are happening there apply to other places. We'll get to that in just a few. Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We will also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
This is also Freddie Mills going underneath the alias of Danny Kennard. You can find me on Facebook at any time. Just look up Danny Kennard, but I am Freddie Mills. Trust me.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we are talking insider info in bourbon.
Yes, we are. So I think we'll just turn over this, at least the first part here, to Katie. Katie, what happened out there in Virginia? What's going on?
So there are two men facing felony charges. There's an alleged scheme, and I will say alleged because they are not convicted of anything at this point.
Right. Innocent until proven guilty. So,
that's right. There's an alleged scheme and we will also say alleged as well that they have not been proven guilty of anything, so that we also will not be the result of any civil suit talking about them doing anything.
Exactly.
But what they're accused of is selling access to internal data. And so it was liquor data. So now the important part here is that Virginia, and this where this happened, it's an ABC state. So their alcoholic beverage
state control
authority has the government run liquor monopoly. And it was an employee who had access to information about where bottles were going. So the allegations are that they had the information about where these hard to find allocated bottles were going to be going. And then we're selling access to that information.
Katie, this is a new thing in Virginia, right? Where they have like these random drops.
Yes.
So if someone had the information of where this random occurrence was supposed to happen, and again, random, of course, behind the scenes, people know what's happening, but for the consumers, it's supposed to be random. But so what's being accused here is individuals knew what was happening and then they were telling others, or were they benefiting from themselves, buying the bottles themselves?
So now I've seen some allegations floating around as well of people saying, oh, this has been happening for so long.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they start doing this, people would magically be at these stores before the announcements even went out that the stores had them. But what the big issue here is the accusations that the guy who was posting this online was just so irreverent and just blatant about it. Of basically telling people, pay me $300, I'll give you access to where these bottles are going to be.
Wowzers. Oh. That's going to be hard to defend.
That's what they're claiming.
Yeah.
And so that he would post it on, I think it was all through Facebook, about giving information about where these bottles would be. I think, and I believe is that you had to like sign up for like his list of his access.
It's a private Facebook page, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So this will be interesting to see if they're able to bust through Facebook's privacy rules and if that can be subpoenaed and what's going on there too as well. Should be interesting to see how the district attorney manages this one.
Katie, and maybe you don't even know, but so say I'm part of this Facebook group. I don't have any insider information, but I'm benefiting from that. Can I get in trouble? Am I doing anything wrong if this guy's posting within the Facebook group saying, hey, go to this location at this time and you'll get probably these bottles. Could I get in any trouble for participating in something like that?
So that's when you'd have to go to the exact language of their statutes of whether receiving the information. And because actually, I believe the two guys charged, my understanding is that one was an employee of the state. Mm-hmm. And then one was his friend who received the information from him and then posted it online to benefit from him. And so I believe the distinction they're making is that the people paying for this are more the victims, that they're not going to qualify.
Feels like I should be part of that
for receiving.
I get all this pappy and I'm like, I'm the victim. Don't forget, I am the victim here.
Steve loves an attorney letter.
And so that is something though they have to keep, because there is language, and when you look at other state language as well, that it could quickly qualify of if you know that this is information that they received from a source that they shouldn't have received it and then used it for your benefit, you could be guilty as well then.
So there is some onus on you if you know that this is not right. And hey, you got to think it's not right. I mean, so say this little group here gets together and Tim's like, hey, I work for the state and I've got some insider information. It's only $300 to sign up, and don't worry, you'll make up more than that in the bottles you get. To me, as a law-abiding citizen, I would be like, this isn't right. Now, not to say you wouldn't do it because you always want to get the cool bottles, but you might feel like, well, this is a victimless crime, but this is gonna. I think a lot of people's eyes are being opened by this. So keep going, Katie. This is good.
So the main two statutes that they're charged under, and I have all their charges here, is one as well. You don't want to piss people off because then they look further into them. And the one guy also now has a bunch of charges for illegal alcohol sale and buying alcohol from unauthorized persons for different offense dates. So that's outside of also the scheme. So
there's your secondary market sales.
Yep. So I'm guessing it means he also was using his own data to go buy them himself and then selling them at secondary prices. And so now they're getting him for reselling them at secondary.
And by the way, guess who else is watching this closely? The IRS. So when you go through all this shit and then it's like, and then by the way, hello, let's see what tax you paid on all those sales you made, illegal sales you made. I'm doubting he paid any,
And really the alcohol sale and buying alcohol from an unauthorized person, those ones are just misdemeanors. So that's the least of their worries at this point. They have charges of embezzlement and conspiring for embezzlement. Those are felonies. And then they also have a computer trespass for the and those ones are felonies. And so
that's for the employee, correct? The computer trespass is for what allegedly the employee access, not for the other party.
Charge it against both of them.
They charge both.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so I believe it was because, and that's where I pulled up the statute, and because I have it here, it is against both of them. They both have the computer trespass, and then the one specifically just had a conspiring on the second charge. So, but they had
for direct and indirect access.
And so, let's see. The highest class that they have here is a class 5 felony. Well, now there are unclassified felonies for several of them. And part of that is because I believe they're still trying to determine the exact value of the data.
Right.
So that they know what number they can put on it. Because I think it's going to change what class they can put out for punishment as well.
What type of time are we talking here? Do we know that much into it, Katie, or some of that still pending as they do this investigation to see how much the stuff was worth and all that?
Like what time
what sort of time, like would they be facing in jail
time
if they are convicted of these crimes? Again, they're right now innocent until proven guilty.
Allegedly,
right. So it sounds like real time, multiple felonies. I mean,
sorry. Muted myself. There we go. The maximum sentencing for class 5 felony in Virginia is 10 years in prison.
Holy shit.
And up to a $2,500 fine. Now,
plus all these other felonies.
See that happening.
No, I wouldn't think so either. But,
I
don't want to be facing that.
Other ones are a class 6 felony, which is a maximum of 5 years in prison. And then naturally the misdemeanors are a maximum of 1 year in jail. All of them have a max of a $2,500 fine. And then with the computer trespass, there's actually a part of the Virginia code that there can be civil liabilities for it as well. So I think there's going to be some extra money damages here resulting from
as well. Really go after the secondary sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Katie, as we look at this, do we think, I would assume, particularly the state-run, situations are going to be all looking at this, and this could be something that we start seeing in other states happening as well, correct?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Yeah. What about? Go ahead.
So the language of what it fell under is pretty generic. So the embezzlement language, the part that they were caught under is that they're accused of wrongfully and fraudulently using, and then any other personal property, tangible or intangible, which you have received from your employer. And obviously that's a chopped up sentence because I'm skipping the parts of the statute that don't apply to this. So there's a specific part of that statute of if you're wrongfully using intangible property that you've received from your employer. And that's pretty broad there. And the computer trespass part was basically that they use an unauthorized form of the access to the computer data and its use of computer or computer network to make or cause to be made an unauthorized copy in any form, including but not limited to any printed or electronic form of computer data, computer programs, or computer software, communicating, producing it by a computer or a computer network. And then if their damage of the property is valued at $1,000 or more, and let's see, or is caused by the person's act of malicious intent, the violation, that's when it's a felony. And so I've looked up like example in Missouri. Missouri also has a tampering with computer data. Now, obviously we're not an ABC state, so that's a little different, but we do even have a tampering with computer data of a person commits the offense of tampering with computer data if he or she knowingly and without authorization and without reasonable grounds to believe that he has authorization, discloses or takes data from a computer, or receives, retains, or uses that data. And so the fact that even in Missouri, we have a random statute that would have applied to this as well. I think it's 17 states that have state.
Yeah, sounds about
17 ABC, 17 controlled states, correct.
And so I think I would be willing to bet that all of them are going to have their statutes that already apply to this.
Yeah. What do you think, Katie? Could this begin to apply to other things too? Because there are situations where, distributors are tipping off customers and things like that. There are situations where retailers are tipping off certain customers, big box stores, sending out texts to their friends, hey, this is here and all that. It's a little bit different application, but there could be, and I see this more as like a class action lawsuit of people that, hey, have you not been able to get these things? And if they can uncover that distributors or retail personnel are collaborating to get certain people the stuff, maybe something like that could happen.
I think you're going to get into somewhat of a divide between the government monopolized states and then the private retail of right. Private business information and the protections for that as well. Mm-hmm. They're allowed to do whatever they want with it in their store. Once it's to them, they could give it to all their favorite customers, sell it only to them if they want. Like in Missouri, there's not much restrictions on it once it gets to them.
Right.
And so I think it definitely could lead to other areas outside of just the ABC states.
Right.
Well, that would be for a retailer role, though. A distributor role.
What about that?
I guess their clients would be the retailers. If they're going to the consumer and skipping the retailer option and asking for compensation for that data, hey, by the way, distributor A says, hey, I'm letting you know that retailers B, C, and D are going to get these right now. If you want access to that information when they're dropping, give me $300. Now your distributor's hopping a step.
Oh yeah, that definitely could be, especially because we have the requirement that it has to go through our two-step system through the distributor. And so since it's a requirement, it has to be going through them. I could see it absolutely applying the same way.
Right. What about a distributor just tipping off people that then take that product and move it? Would there be any liability there on a distributor who routinely does that, says, hey, this is where, Colonel E.H. Taylor is going to be hitting, we'll dropping it off on Friday here. We're going to be dropping it off Saturday at this place. Could there be anything like that?
I think there could be.
Yeah,
if they went directly to the consumer, yeah.
Yeah, to the
if
consumer,
they're notifying
especially.
Retailers. Yeah.
Now,
if it's going to notify the retailers that, hey, by the way, this is coming, and the retailer takes that information and does something with it, then I think they're potentially within their, I don't know.
Yeah.
Protected by the action of private business.
Correct.
But yeah, I think that big difference there is if the distributor skipping that step of the relationship of distributor works with retailer works with individual consumer.
Yeah. I may or may not, maybe I'm just making this up to give a good example. I'll say that. So this may or may not be true, but we'll say I'll phrase it like it's true, and then we can decide later if it is or not offline. But I used to work with a woman who lived next door to a distributor, and he would tell her where to go to get this stuff. She would go and buy it, and then she would contact me and say, "Hey, do you want to buy this?" This very highly desirable, but it was always huge secondary prices. I never was interested in any of that stuff. So you're talking B-Tech collection and Pappy Van Winkle and all that. And it was always like, do you want to buy this for $3,000? Potentially, is the distributor in any trouble? And I think some of the money is getting kicked back to the distributor too. So you got to follow the money. Then I assume it would be illegal for the person that's selling it, of course. But if they then can trace back that the distributor is getting a tip off, clearly that's illegal, right? I mean, you can't do anything like that.
Well, there's got to be damages first, right, Katie? If the distributor's if that person's tipping the information off and not requesting payment back or any type of compensation, cash or non-cash compensation, and it's just sharing information, that individual who's acted on that information is then potentially at risk.
Right.
Okay.
Because they're the ones who are creating damages to a potential purchaser of that on the other side.
Yeah, because that's why the statutes include that language of they knew or should have known that information is coming from a source that's illegitimate, basically, and then they're benefiting from it.
Okay.
And using it improperly.
So we will see what happens in this case in Virginia. It's definitely going to be precedent setting. I think people are all watching this and see what happens. And
I'm hoping that especially the ABC states take this as a sign of if people are so desperate for this that they're risking felonies and years in prison, maybe let's look at this and approach things differently. Now that seems way too sensible, so I'm not expecting that to be the answer in any means. I'm hoping that would be the answer. But that would be great, at least if maybe they took another approach. Also, Virginia might be like, well, we tried doing it differently and making it random, and that really bit us. So screw that.
If these allegations are true, where the person loses me is charging people for this insider information. You could even make the case of, yeah, I got this information but I was just trying to help my friends and stuff like that out. And it's really cool stuff. And no one ever you could almost be like, well, maybe it's ignorance more than, because are you really thinking this is against the law? Do I, as a state employee, do I know that I'm committing a felony by doing that? I don't think so. I don't think anybody's talking about, hey, if you ever do this, it's a felony. So, but this whole deal of selling the information, then it takes it to a different level. So
for $300 at that, but I'm just like, you know what? If stupid people are going to give you their money, have at it. But
you gotta. What will be?
That seems like
what will be fun? Yeah, what'll be fun is seeing how many members are in that Facebook group. 300 times 1,000, 300 times 5,000. So let's go to. I'm in the middle of college application season, and all these colleges charging admission fees. Just select and knowing that your child's not going to get in there. Millions of dollars are just collected on $50 application fees.
Yeah.
I consider this very similar. You're charging for access that you may or may not receive anything, but you're accessing it through a subscription or some type of fee to pay to play.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. We'll see what happens. And So
I think they should stop having state controlled alcohol.
That would be a great
they
start.
Should just free for all. Let's just let the people have the alcohol. Really, I mean, come on.
Well,
I'm here for that.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Tim, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
Allegedly, I can be found at the abvnetwork.com site under the Tasting Private Events page, as well as on Instagram at SwyGuy2112.
SwyGuy2112. Fair enough. All right, Katie, how about you?
You can find me over on Instagram at Katie Proof.
Katie Proof. All right, Danny.
Danny is muted.
Danny's muted. Danny's not napping this time. He's actually just muted.
Yes, I was just actually
you weren't napping.
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead. You can
not
nap next
Freddie
show.
Mills yet, but yes, you can find me at Denny Kennard on Facebook.
We'll
We're on Saturday mornings in front of the ABV Barrel Shop waiting for bottle drops.
And a lunch here. Very comfy.
Or my wife.
Yeah. His wife showed up the other day. Yeah. So I got to get this for Danny. All right. McNew, how about you? Where can people find you?
I am on Instagram at McNew ABV.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. The important website, though, is abvnetwork.com. Check it out because everything that we do is out there. Please join our club where we give you insider information about all the ABC states around the country. Kidding.
Allegedly.
We have no insider information at all. I was kidding. All right, McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
All right, great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Another friend of ours is the Goldstein family at Goldstone Mill. The Goldsteins offer a variety of heritage and heirloom grains to make the finest whiskeys in the world. Plus, they are more than just a grain company. They are truly consultants to make sure the grains they are providing to you or your business meet your highest expectations. Additionally, they work with mills around the country, ensuring shipping is as low as possible for their customers. If you're a distillery, brewery, or even doing this at home, Goldstone can assist you. Check them out at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or check in via email at hello@goldstonemill.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with a national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.